Apollo, Portuguese water dog, you guys are looking for just like the obedience part of training, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think he has any major behavioral issues, although he does seem to be.
Well, I would
Orally
describe him. I'm gonna put it. I would describe him as major. I mean, he's 15 months old. We can't control.
Yeah.
Pretty.
It's not like he's on the street.
Oh, here. He won't listen, and we're.
Yeah, so go ahead and just fill me in on about Apollo and what you're looking for, and I'll be
He's big for his breed. I think the males are supposed to get up to 60 pounds. He's 67. He's very sweet, but super playful, high energy, does not listen to us. Sometimes he does, but usually not. We've never had a puppy before. We got him, I think when he was 3 months old. So Steve's having trouble corralling him. He's very smart, so he figures out how to get around us.
yeah.
Finally corralled him. So he just has a lot of things that he just doesn't listen. He doesn't know the basic commands. He doesn't always come when called. He does a lot of barking. He's always licking and picking up things. So when you take him for walks, not only does he pull, but he's a Hoover vacuum. He grabs everything, goes through periods where sometimes it's worse than other times doing that.
Well, he behaves like he's still 3 months old. And none of that. I mean, granted, we have not given him any kind of proper training, but we haven't seen any maturation.
Well, I've seen some since he's been neutered.
I haven't seen any change from the neutering.
Yeah.
He's overly aggressive, not in terms of viciousness, but in terms of challenging us constantly, uncontrolled barking, and the constant use of the mouth.
Okay.
And grabbing us, grabbing things.
And never aggressive, never hurts. He's super sweet natured, but he's
and he's great out on walks, very friendly with dogs, very friendly with people. But I mean, as you can hear now, you may not be able to hear it, but he's in an aggressive mode right now, running around, barking.
He's in the kitchen with our daughter now.
Yeah, trying to grab things. And that is a major problem, constantly grabbing things that, tearing apart towels, grabbing things off the dining room table, stuff like
counter, that. Newspapers.
And, it's playful. He has a good time. The tail's wagging when he's doing it. He wants us to chase him, but we can't have that anymore.
And and you can't have him jumping up on people. And always in a friendly manner, but so that's why I put down just basic obedience, but maybe it is more than that. I'm not sure what you would say.
Yeah. Anything else I should know about Apollo?
He was neutered in December because he had an undescended testicle. Steve doesn't think this is my husband, Steve. I don't know if I put his name on the form. He doesn't think it's helped. I can tell a difference in him. He's not quite as, he's got a little bit more maturation and self-control. I don't know if that's just time or if the neutering is starting to kick in, but he's still pretty much a handful. Anything else about him that
No, I think
he's very smart.
There's no, it
figures out.
It took us a week to house train him. There's never been an accident except for, in his first week here, and that's been it. And he learns very quickly. It's just, we don't have experience with dog training.
Mhm.
All the
dogs-
dogs we've had before have been
Yeah.
rescues or they're older, so we've never dealt with a puppy before.
I see.
And so he's almost a blank slate.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. I mean, he's big, he's smart, and he's very athletic.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so, no. Just, good natured, but not well controlled or trained.
Okay. So how did you guys hear about us?
My daughter and I, we've been looking for a trainer, and your name popped up. I think it was on Yelp, and
Okay.
then we did some further investigating and looked at some of your YouTube videos, and here we are.
Yeah. And then what are your goals? Like, what are you looking? So you're looking to address obviously the in-home craziness. Is he that way in the home outside on like outside area, or how's he outside? You said he was like he's pretty good.
When either of us take him on walks, he can go through brief spells where he's a little bit out of control, leash tugging. When he gets excited, like after he meets up with and as I said, he's very friendly and really great with other dogs and people. But after those encounters, he will jump all over me or whoever the person
Like
walking
he's
him
super
is.
excited.
Yeah, and he may be, grabbing my arm with his mouth and yanking on the
And
leash.
he's a little stronger than me. I mean, I think he tends to pull. If there are no dogs around and he doesn't anticipate running into any of them, he can be very calm. I mean, he'll still pull, but he's much calmer. But once he knows there's a dog around or anticipates one, gets overly excited, and that's when he does even more aggressive pulling. And like this winter, it was when I'd walk him in the morning, it was pretty treacherous sometimes on the ice.
But to give a briefer answer to the question, the bigger problems are in the home.
Okay.
And perhaps because we have him on a leash when he's outside. Now, one thing I should note that really is a big problem, but it's the least frequent of the problems. We have some property in Wisconsin near some forested area. When he's up there, he's off leash. And for whatever reason, when I take him off leash, he gets hyper aggressive. He will circle me a couple times, growling and barking, running by, trying to snap. And it hasn't occurred as frequently, but I can't figure out what the source of that behavior is. Maybe because he's off leash and there's no control and he sees that as a brief freedom. I don't know, but it's a little odd.
And he stopped doing that with
yeah.
he still does it occasionally with Steve.
Okay.
But yeah, but he's loves it up there, runs around a lot. You use it to tire him out.
Mm-hmm.
But so that's kind of Apollo in a nutshell.
Okay. And where would you like to see yourself or your guys? Where would you like to see yourselves in the future with Apollo? Like how, like for example, do you just want to be able to walk Apollo, do a solid walk, and then, you take him to the dog park, he plays, and then you do, you need him to come when called. Or do you do that, you want to walk him from point A to point B, and then maybe take him to like a restaurant and just have him like lay down until you guys are done eating? Or
get the thought. Okay.
or do you guys like see yourselves like wanting that that off-leash control where like, you let him loose and then he's to come when called, like either you go on hikes or like where would you like to see yourselves with Apollo in the future?
I would like to see him just follow like the basic commands of coming when called, not jumping on people, because he is large, and I think he can be a little, not even intimidating to us, but off-putting, and I think it intimidates people that aren't around him a lot.
Yeah.
I would, to me, it's just the constant licking and eating things, and that he doesn't respond to basic commands.
Yeah, I mean, probably one of the biggest things for us in terms of just a general behavioral norm
at the home.
is to understand that certain behaviors cross red lines, like jumping up on a table or up on a kitchen counter and trying to pull stuff off. I mean, we don't want to have to be, for the rest of his life, telling him not to do that.
Yeah.
We want him to understand he is not to do that. And then also understanding just commands.
Because right now, all of our toilet paper, we don't let them on the top floor just because of the allergies and stuff. But we don't have toilet paper out because he pulls that off. There are no towels hanging in the bathrooms on the lower level because he grabs them and tears them apart. So, I just would like him to act, I guess, normally in the confines of a home. If we could get him to a point where he could sit quietly outside of a restaurant, which at this point I can't imagine, that would be great. But
yeah, so sort of to answer your original question, it would be all of the above. Maybe not bringing him into a restaurant, but really obeying commands outdoors, understanding certain behavioral norms that we shouldn't have to remind him of, that he just doesn't do. As I said, I mean, he's smart. He understands the housebreaking norm, but nothing else. Well, he knows to sit. He can do that.
yeah. And he will come if he hears a treat jar at the back door.
Oh,
you can get him to come, but otherwise, forget it. And even then, you had an experience with him up in Door County where he would not come in for half an hour.
Oh yeah, right.
He was just circling.
Right. I couldn't get him. I had him off leash, and then I could not get him in the house. He refused to come in, and it just became a disaster.
I see.
So yeah, we would like him to do all of those things.
And he's always wagging his tail and happy when he's doing all this. So
yeah. So I'll explain what's kind of going on. It just sounds like just a lack of rules and boundaries, and a lot of overstimulation. So what that looks like is a lot what he's kind of displaying. Like he can't focus on one thing. He sees like a stick, he wants to pick it up. He sees someone, he starts getting excited. He sees another person, he gets excited or barks or whatever. And then in the home, he's just like, sniffing. And then just a lot of, he can't like really focus on one thing. That's what I'm getting from Apollo, just a lot of overstimulation. And
so even in the home, because he's been here for a year.
Yeah.
So that would still be at the overstimulation, just with smells and things in the home.
Because overstimulation, it goes away once you kind of give him something to do, like it's like almost like giving him a job if and something to focus on. So if he can't focus on one thing, he's going to be all over the place. And if the way you raise a puppy is if you never correct these little behaviors as when he was a puppy, he's going to keep doing them as he gets older and older, forever. So like, an owner will be like, my puppy has his zoomies, and then we're like, do you want that in your house? Like, yeah, we don't care. I'm just like, okay, just letting you know that the puppy you have is going to be a 100-pound Bernese Mountain Dog running around your house. Yeah, we don't care. And then we'll hear new clients come in and like, yeah, my big dog runs around the house, and because it's a practice behavior, it's habit. And since he never has anything to focus on when he's a puppy, sometimes they carry that when they get older. Here and there, certain puppy behaviors go away, but just a lack of rules and boundaries and discipline for Apollo, it sounds like. So
Okay.
discipline meaning, like, let's say Apollo, was at the dog park, or like a dog park, or like, let's say you brought in an older dog in your home, and Apollo is acting like, acting a fool around the house, and this dog is seeing this. Sometimes dogs will see what's going on and they'll address it themselves. So the way dogs address certain behaviors is through the mouth. So most likely be it just a bite, a quick bite, like bam, quick snap. And Apollo's like, whoa, okay, I can't do that around, this dog. I can't do, the mounting or like the biting with this dog because the dog has boundaries. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they'll settle. So like this is a YouTube video where with a mother Labrador entering a playpen with her puppies, a litter, and then they're
Mm-hmm.
all over her. They're barking, they're whining, they're all over her, very excited. And this mother just starts growling and snapping at everyone. And she only snaps at 4. And all the rest of them just like, oh, okay. And they all literally like go like in their little like, little spot, and they just lay down and go to sleep. So discipline is definitely needed when raising a puppy, and just rules and boundaries. Because if not, the mind can't settle because it doesn't have an off switch. So he's always going, 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 going because he's never learned how to turn off, turn off,
Okay.
so that's why sometimes, you'll take him for a walk. Maybe, I don't know if you've experienced this, but like you'll take him for a long walk and he comes home and he's still like, has that energy. He's still going.
Yeah.
So sometimes that will happen. But yeah, it
Sometimes
just sounds like overstimulation.
quiet. Sometimes he's still amped up.
Yes, yeah. But all this
So
sounds.
is it correctable? Because since we didn't do that as a puppy,
Oh yeah, yeah.
what would you do now that he's an adult? Or he's not an adult, but at 15 or 16 months?
So, what do you walk Apollo on right now? Like
Uh,
harness, collar?
a collar. I used to do a harness, but it's too difficult to get it on him.
Oh,
So the collar and a leash.
okay. Good move switching from the harness. But yeah, collar. Because there's no. I mean, you can use corrections with the collar, but there needs to be more discipline because sometimes dogs will be so overstimulated. For
Mm-hmm.
example, do you guys know what prong collars are?
We have seen them,
We have
yes.
seen them, but we don't have them. And you ran into somebody who was
Yeah.
walking their dog with them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like those pointy ones, right? Like the little.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so prong collars are a good tool because they mimic a dog bite. So it can get you close to settling Apollo. The issue is if Apollo is so up there, let's say he's at a 7, and because the way you would use prong collars is like leash popping to correct the dog. So when you pop the leash, the prong collar goes like snaps, like it like closes really quick and releases. That your strongest could be a 6, and since he's at an 8 or a 9, you will never reach that since he's so like gone. He's so far gone of like overstimulated that you'll never calm him down because it's just not enough. Not enough like pressure
Or
power to, because no tool will ever reach the power and the magic of an actual dog bite, right? Obviously we can't just bring dogs in and bite other dogs and just let's see how it goes. But so that's the issue with prong collars. Sometimes you may not reach the level the level he's at. The other issue with prong collar and is that once you take the leash off that prong collar, he's, there's no way to control his behavior. Kind of like when you took him off leash at, is it your cabin, I believe you said, that where he was just, going around barking, barking. So how do you address this now since you took the leash off? Now you're without a leash.
mm-hmm.
And that's when we go to e-collar training. You guys know we train with e-collars, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
What do you know about e-collars?
I just know it's a device that's around as a collar, and it's not so much a shock, but sort of I felt one once, just sort of a strange vibration.
Well, an electronic stimulus.
Yeah.
We had asked our vet about them early on, and after we got Apollo, and she hinted that she thought they were inhumane, and so we stayed away from them. But given the problems we've had so far in trying to get Apollo under control, we became more open to the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're fine with them now, but maybe when they're super young, it's not as effective or a good idea, but
Yeah.
that's kind of all I know about it.
So I'll go ahead and explain what e-collar is and like how it works and how we would use it for Apollo. So have you guys ever been to a physical therapist?
No, I haven't.
You mean for humans?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah, I've had therapy.
Yeah. So have you ever had like the muscle, like they put these like patches on you and like they move the muscle, like they stimulate
Oh,
it?
no, I would not have that.
Okay. That is called like a TENS unit. And like, there's commercials where like they put it on like the abs and like get a six pack overnight and like just massages the muscles here.
Remember those? Yeah.
Yeah, that technology is e-collar. So it's a TENS unit basically on a collar. So like in the physical therapy, a client would be receiving that, and then the physical therapist would say, okay, I'm gonna go up and up and up. Tell me when it's too uncomfortable. So she'll go up, 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 and he's like, okay, that's enough. And then she'll like dip it down like 2 levels, and then they let the machine do its work. So that method is very similar to how we go about with e-collar. It's just a muscle contractor. So if I was holding the box with the 2 contact points on my hand and I was going up and up, you would eventually see my thumb like move like that as I go higher and higher. Can it be uncomfortable? Yes. But e-collar isn't always, let's have the dog jump on us and turn it all the way up and just slam it. That's there's a certain way we need to teach e-collar to the point where Apollo will know how it turns on and that he's in control of it. So he can turn it on, he turns it off. It's all on Apollo. And what else? But yeah, Jesse likes to put it as it's electric, but it's not electricity. So like I said, it's just a muscle contractor. So the 2 contact points would only feel it in this area. Like you wouldn't feel it go through your whole body. It's just like this area.
And how does that correct the dog's behavior? Are they just shocked that something is on them making that feeling, or?
Yeah, so for Apollo, since we're dealing with overstimulation, the heel command would help a lot. Now, heel is walk with me, stay with me, sit when I stop. And although it's an obedience, because we have obedience and behavior. Look at obedience and behavior as like, for humans, obedience would be math, science, English, history, right? And then behavior for humans would be don't steal, don't lie, don't cheat. We can have a good student, but a bad person, and we can have a bad person, but a good student, right? So for the heel command, and then how that would translate to dogs is obedience is sit down, stay place, and behaviors don't jump, don't bite, don't whine, don't bark. So the heel command, although it's obedience, the way our heel command works is that it's also addressing behavior. The heel command isn't about the obedience, and it isn't always about how, where the dog is on your hip or anything like that. It's about the level of focus. So much focus on you guys that nothing else will matter. That he's going to be like, okay, I need to watch where mom goes. I can't really worry about that dog. I can't worry about that stick. I can't worry about that squirrel. I need to focus on mom mentally, or else, there's going to be consequence. So then once we get that level of focus, and he'll start to dial down, right? He's gonna be like, oh, okay, I just need to watch mom. That's all I need to do. Instead of not knowing what to do and being focused on other things like sticks and smells and everything. Once we start giving consequence for that, the act of being overstimulated and him being amped up, once we give him something to do and we start applying discipline for these things he's doing, he's gonna be like, oh, I just walk with mom. So like I said, the heal command, although it's an obedience command, it's also addressing a lot of behavior stuff. So some things might just go away, like barking at strangers or like lunging. In the home, he might, be a calmer dog after, a few classes. He just might dial down because he now has discipline, and the discipline is in his language because it's physical. It's physical. It's something that's actually touching him and providing consequence versus, using words or like treats or, just pulling him away. It's not really correcting anything in a way.
Okay.
So
So that would take care of with the excessive barking at home, or
yes, because
he
he's
always
not
does during
settling.
dinner.
Yes, he's not settling, and he needs to learn how to settle. So for example, we had Jesse had a German Shepherd. He comes to our daycare, and he would never be able to sleep. So he only sleeps in the crate. Once you let him out in the crate in the house, he just doesn't rest. He's always like on the move. I think like the first 2 classes, the owners, like, he just decided to sleep outside of the crate, and like he finally just slept. And like that was like one of their biggest goals, like why can't he just like relax outside of his crate? And he just did it. He just, was just like, outside, and then he just slept. And it was like a really big deal for them. They were like, wow, like he's never slept out of the house ever since he was ever in his life. And he's like a year old, I think, already. So
Huh.
things will just happen once discipline is applied to Apollo. Like it's a lot of things will end up changing, and I've seen a lot of progress of other things that don't need to be addressed. Like they never had to address like make him sleep outside. He just decided to do it since there's been
You were addressing other issues, and it just kind of became part of the training
yes.
for the correction.
Yes. And then training isn't always, bad behavior, we correct it. It's, there's ways to teach it to, like I said, to have him know that, he's in control of the e-collar. What else? You guys have any questions so far? I've been babbling.
Yeah, when you say he's in control, clearly he doesn't have the device, right?
No,
that
no, no, yeah.
It's
And
just
he
control
will,
in terms of his behavior, that he can induce the shock or whatever.
yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. With
and
I did have some questions just about training.
yeah,
I know you'd mentioned some classes, and I know you've got a lot of different things. You've got classes, group classes, you've got board and train,
mhm.
and we're open to just about anything. But I think just given our time limitations, what would you suggest for somebody like, or for a dog like Apollo?
Um, so I'll go ahead and go to the programs and like pros and cons. So we have I'll go to in-person first. So in-person, pros, you do everything yourself. So for example, I wouldn't touch the dog, or Jesse wouldn't touch the dog. We're coaching you through it. So you're technically like teaching everything to Apollo from the ground up.
Mhm.
You're going through all the mistakes. You're going through all, how to work, troubleshooting. You're seeing everything happen, and it's all tied to you. So those are the biggest pros with in person. We give you a topic for each class. So if, for example, um, if you did like the 6-week program, that's 6 classes. So like it'd be Monday at 1 for an hour for five more Mondays. So we give you a topic, you work on that topic. The next class, we give you another topic, you work on that topic, and so on and so forth, just so we don't overload you with information and then
Okay.
it starts to get messy. So the con with that would be it's slower. The in-person takes more time just because we're giving you one topic. But the pros is you're doing everything. You're becoming more knowledgeable about the tool. You're the one making everything happen. Then we have, or any questions about in-person?
Nope, it's an hour once a week.
Yeah, and we operate at Oz now, Oz Park or the facility. Oz Park is like the busiest park in Chicago. So it has like everything, dogs, bikes, baseball games, kids running around, off leash dogs, has like everything. So we find that if you can work Apollo and train Apollo in an environment like that, you can basically do any environment.
And are they group classes or individual?
We don't do group classes as of now.
Okay,
We're just doing
it'd
one-on-one.
be one-on-one. Okay, all right.
So then we have Daycare and Train. So Daycare and Train, you can bring Apollo into the facility at our daycare, and he gets to play with dogs. He does treadmill time, and then he gets trained. So with Daycare and Train, we videotape the first the first introductions to e-collar. We film everything, so you get to see how Apollo took to it, how we worked through certain things, troubleshooting, everything. We teach every command the first day, and we record everything. So then you pick him up, you take him home, you don't have to worry about practicing. Then the next day, let's say the video was uploaded, you'd watch the video and practice what you can, and then you get follow-ups. So let's say he finishes the program, you schedule your follow-up, we meet at Oz or the facility, and you show us what you've been practicing, and then we coach you through, like, if you're having issues, or if everything's going fine, then we can give you more, or like we can advance or whatever.
Okay.
So that's
Is that all day, or in how many days does that involve?
It depends on what your goals are. So if you're wanting that off leash life for in-person, it'd be like the 12-week program. So we have, so for in-person, 6-week, 9-week, and 12-week. 6-week is like, I take my dog to the dog park, I walk around, my neighborhood, and then I need recall to call him back, and I had to go home. The 9-week is I walk my dog around, I take him to the dog park, and then I take him to restaurants. I need that stationary control. I need him to stay here and sit still for like an hour or 3 hours or whatever. And then the 12-week in person is I do all of that, and then I take him off leash hiking. So the Daycare and Train, I think the 10-week program, or no, the 10-day, so 10-day Daycare and Train bundle is equal to the 9-week in person. And then the 20-day, or is it the 15? I think the 20-day bundle is equal to the 12-week in person.
Okay.
So if let's say you choose like the 10-day bundle, which is, like the 9-week, you get 2-hour videos, a video for each week of his bundle, of just how everything's progressing and how we progress him off leash, because there's phases and everything to get him to that level of off leash control. But yeah, you drop him off, we train him throughout the day. All handlers get a lesson with your dog. He's constantly, he's being worked. He's always doing something. He's either resting, which is very important throughout the day to be able to rest, because then we're also teaching that off switch for Apollo. And then he gets trained, and maybe a rest again, and then he gets to playtime or whatever, plays with his friends, and then rest, and then train again. So it's always a balance of everything, because some daycares, they don't let the dog rest. So then that's where they don't get the off switch, and they come like they'll play all day, all day. And like, wow, this dog's playing, like we're good. And then the dog goes home, the dog is stuck. Like the dog is stuck
They're
in
still
play.
in the play mode.
Yeah. So the dog hasn't had an off switch throughout the day. So they're always on. So at our daycare, we do a lot of off switch and like relaxation time, just so that the dog can, relax and, let it all, just chill out.
I think you just answered my question, but the Daycare and Train is not a boarding program. It's during the day he's trained, and then we pick him up at the end of the day.
Correct.
Okay.
So it's a 9 to 5 type of thing, or
Yeah. So we open at 7 a.m. So you drop off Apollo from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. And then pickup starts at 3 and ends at 7 during the weekdays. Weekends, we open at 8 and then we close at 6. But that's the Daycare and Train. A lot of people like it. And then we have the Board and Train. Everything remains the same. So we videotape everything. Obviously we have him for, all day, like 24/7. So he's going to get a lot more lessons, a lot more discipline. It's basically like a boot camp, intense boot camp. We do this with the Daycare and Trains too, but then we just have more time with the Board and Trains to do like training walks. So we go like Home Depot, PetSmart, and just apply his training to other places, because, if we're only training here, like what good is it if it's just always in the same place? Like we need the training to function everywhere we go.
you do kind of a real world application.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. And how long are those typically, the board?
So it goes 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, 4 week. 4 week is equal to the 12-week in person. The 4 week is also equal to the 20-day Daycare and Train.
Okay.
1 week so the Board and Train goes by phases. So if you're going to do 1 week, we just do short leash stuff. 2 week, we advance to long leash. The 3rd week, we advance, we're at long leash, but now it's long leash dragging. So like it's almost like no leash, but the leash is still there as a case. And then the 4th week is no leash with distractions. Like we'll go in the puppy play, not the puppy playpen, the playpen with a whole bunch of dogs, and then we'll train in that scenario. Like now you have to focus when there's dogs around you, smelling you, trying to play with you. We need you to focus.
Now, for short leash, long leash, do you mean literally a leash of short length?
Yes.
Oh, really? Is that a big deal in dog training, the leash length?
So short leash, because dogs think in pictures, right? So if we're training Apollo for 1 week, 1 week, he's always seeing a picture, right? He's seeing what these commands look like. What he's also seeing in his peripherals is a leash right here. So when we go to long leash, we use a 30-foot long leash. We hold it with our right hand, nothing in our left hand, and we let it go behind us, and we're just holding it here. So now he doesn't see this leash right here. He sees nothing. He's like, whoa, this looks different. So we might see some confusion, and we work him through it. And then after that, we do no leash. So we're starting to progress him to not seeing a leash every single time,
Okay.
The long leash is also like the proofing stage. So, if we're out and about, because we need dogs to get used to this picture of like no leash here, right? Some dogs struggle with it. They're like, whoa, this is like we'll go through the 1 week program and they're fine. We switch the picture and they're all over the place. So then that lets us know alone that, okay, if you took the leash off, they'd probably be like a little messy, So there's these phases to get to that off leash control.
Okay.
But yeah, it's actually like, a 30-foot long leash, and then the first week is the short leash for the Board and Train. And the same thing for Daycare and Train. The first 5 days or 7 is short leash, then we go to long leash, and then long leash dragging, and then no leash. But yeah, Any questions about the programs?
When you had mentioned with the longest training period, like for hiking, like getting them to that point versus the third level of training, which is, I guess they can sit quietly in a restaurant for a few hours. I guess if they're able to sit there without being tied up, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. Isn't that almost the same as the hiking, that they are able to come back and obey commands, or no? What's the difference in the level of training that you get?
So every e-collar training itself, like the way we train e-collar, is already getting you guys started to off-leash control, because we're not using that leash. The leash is there just in case, but we're already getting away from using a leash. So when we talk about these longer programs, we're talking about giving you guys like emergency commands, like you know, if Apollo happens to cross a street, right, and there's traffic, you can't do recall because then he's going to run into the traffic, right? So then you would have to initiate like an emergency down, which means you need to like drop down wherever you are, and you need to wait till I come and get you. For example, like if he's going to chase something across the street, you know, you say or like remember, or maybe you mess up and you think the coast is clear on this traffic on the street. You say, Apollo, come, he's coming. And then you see, you know, a car turns the corner and then you're like down, and then he should just drop down. So we give you tools to use if he's off leash, so that whenever, you know, if you need an emergency like command, you have those tools. And we just spend a lot of time proofing things. And it's just more obedience and more in your toolbox, basically.
Okay, and that's the longest training program that offers that. Okay.
What's been your personal experience with Portuguese water dogs? Have you had much?
No, I mean,
the reason I ask, not that I think there's a big difference in what training skills you would bring to this breed or another. I'm just wondering whether the problems we've described are unique to our particular dog or are common with Portuguese.
It's common. Overstimulation is very common. It's really easy to handle. Breed for us doesn't matter. Obviously, you know, if we're going to be training, you know, a Rottweiler, we do need to take some things into account because they're a large breed. But like, we've never had to be in a situation where like, it's a pit bull, or like, you know what I mean? It's always, it's not, I'm not going to say it's always the same training, because, you know, personalities and everything and behavior, whatever we're dealing with. But since it's just overstimulation, I'd say there's nothing to worry about in the training. And then for the breed, it's I don't think I've never come across a Portuguese water dog. I don't want to compare them to doodles, but I think they're a good breed. I've never worked with one. I've already worked with, I worked with a Rottweiler before, pit bulls, little dogs, a variety. I have a golden retriever right now. Jesse's got, you know, some bigger dogs too with more behavioral issues. But for the breed, I'm not really too worried about it. And then we'll get like, you know, those other clients too, where they're like, you know, I have a herding dog who always wants to herd, or like, you know, like chase stuff, and they kind of want it to stop, and we're able to make it stop, go against its natural instinct, which can be a little difficult, but it absolutely can happen. But yeah, I don't think there's anything to worry about with the issues you guys are dealing with once we like begin training and everything.
Okay,
How are your clients grouped? Are they divided evenly among in-person daycare and board and train, or are they more in one group than another?
So right now, a lot of people are busy with work. So like the younger couples, I think, are more into like the daycare and train. And it's just like whatever your goals are. Like if you wanted to just get it done as fast as you can, which is like I notice like it's like more of the couples, they do that. You know, um, I don't know. I think a lot of more people do in person. Right now for daycare and train, we have one and then possibly two more. So like we might have, three total. Board and train, we have Quinn, Anna, Tipsy, and then Klaus just finished. And we had Hank, the little puppy. We do get a decent amount of board and trains. But daycare and trains, it's as long as you do the homework, you'll be happy. So like the daycare and train, we finished and they were very happy with everything. And then on their follow-up, like the dog was great. So I've seen all programs be successful.
Okay.
For the owner, we encourage in person just so you're not missing anything, because with these daycare and train and board and trains, we only videotape the first lessons and like the second week lessons of like the long leash, and then the third week and fourth week. But let's say like one day we're working with Apollo, and then let's say um, you know um, maybe like something falls, like a big bang, and he freaks out, and we work him through it. Well, you guys just missed that. You don't know how we worked him through it. You don't know what we did and everything, because we weren't part of it. Like it was us. Do you know what I'm saying? So there's going to
Mhm.
be a few things you'll be missing if we do the daycare and train or board and train. The only time we really want in-person training for a client is when they're dealing with reactivity or like some serious behavioral issues where like they need to know how to handle this, because this dog it's a lot. Sometimes it can be a lifestyle, if like the aggression cases or like anxiety or the more intense behavioral cases, because it's a lifestyle, that you're choosing to live with this dog, and you need to know how to live this lifestyle with your dog. So it's best if they do it and they know how to handle these
Okay.
things. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I take it if one went the most intense route with a 4-week board and train, you would not see your dog for 4 weeks, or do you allow for owner visits?
Yeah, you can visit Apollo whenever you like. With the 4 weeks, I don't remember how many hours of follow-up you get, but you get a lot of hours. So sometimes clients will do let's say you choose the 4 week, right? After the first week, sometimes clients schedule the follow-up there. After the second week, a follow-up, and then the third week, a follow-up, and then the fourth week, a follow-up. You schedule the follow-ups whenever you like. So maybe you want to save them all after you're done, or like, you want to be part of the progress and part of the training, see what's going on after every week, so that you're almost kind of connected throughout the whole progress. So like, we'll do a lesson with you. Like, this is what he knows. This is first week. Here you go. You watch the video. So like, for the first week, you watch the video, you come for your follow-up, and then so you have at least an idea, and then we
Mhm.
work you through it. So because we have to transfer everything to you. E-collar is very transferable. So for example, we'll get couples and like in person. So we have a couple, and then the first partner goes, they do all the hard work, and then the second partner goes and there's no hard work because it's all been done by the first person. So it's very transferable. Don't worry about at first the training will be tied to us, yes, but once once Apollo figures it out, oh, this whole boot camp training thing also applies to mom and dad, not just Jesse, Enrique, or Andy, or Elias. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Mhm.
very transferable, because sometimes training programs or other trainers, the dog is good when the trainer's here, but once the trainer leaves, he's back to his old self. We
Yeah.
don't get that issue. But you're more than welcome to visit Apollo whenever you like, or if you wanted to schedule a follow-up during his stay, you can do that. I think we had a lady, visit her dog like every other day, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just it can get funny sometimes.
Where, like, when you do the boarding, where do the dogs sleep, and how, I guess, and how, yeah, what goes on with that? How long is their day? Where do they sleep? Are they all
So
together?
yeah, so we're all together. Is Apollo crate trained?
Yes,
Yeah.
yep.
So
He sleeps in his crate at night.
yeah, so they'll sleep in the crate at night. Someone is in the facility. There's always someone in the facility 24/7, and they're able to hear any barking, any noise or anything, and address it if needed.
Okay.
But they sleep in the facility. So when you enter, there's like the front lobby, and then through the door you enter the main area. So like there's a playpen on your left. There's some dog beds here for duration work. There's treadmills in the corner, and there's like the big playpen. And then we have like I don't know how big it is, but like a really long training floor where we train the dogs. And then we have like the boarding area where it's just like a nice, we have heaters and AC back there, and then kennels for dogs to sleep. But someone is always here. 7 a.m. They get fed, they get let out. Around 9, 8, we start training them, and then we don't stop till I say like our last training sessions are at like 8 or 7. So they're getting trained throughout the whole day.
But they do get the downtime for the ones that are overstimulated.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Ooh, okay. So you would diagnose Apollo's issues as tied to overstimulation and the lack of training and discipline
Yes.
in our household. Okay. And I guess I also had a question in terms of timing. Like if we sat down, talked it over the next few days, like, do you have a schedule that if we wanted to start whatever training program, what's the soonest we could do it?
So board and train, I'm not really sure because we can only take 4 board and trains at a time. So right now we only have 3. I don't believe we're expecting any more. We have 4 actually. We do have 4, yeah. But one leaves Monday, the other one leaves Monday, the other one leaves like next Friday. So
So within the next few weeks,
yeah.
you could do that one. Okay. And then the day training?
The daycare train, I think you can just start as soon as possible.
Okay.
It goes let's go. So Monday, so we give you like recommendations of like days to come in so that we don't get like 3 daycare and trains at a day. And then like, if we don't, so we have time to get through all of them basically. So it'd be like, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. If you miss a day, that's fine. There's no there's no policy for that.
You could make it up another.
Yeah, because you get a bundle, so you can technically bring him whenever you want during the week.
But you guys usually have a day off so you can practice some of the things they've learned the day before, or do people do 3 days in a row?
Yeah, so you don't have to do 3 days in a row. So before we did this whole Monday, Wednesday, to Friday, they would do back to back. Like they got a 10-day. They'd come Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 5 days in a row. And then we tell them, okay, like your dog was here for 5 days straight. Take a week off, or like, don't come like, those 5 days, like spend some time to practice and then bring it back. And then we can do like one, we can spread them out just so that, your dog is getting exposed to like, different environments while like the training is being applied. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So they don't need to be back to back. Like you said, some time to practice, and then you can come back and continue the daycare and train and just get this
okay,
been going in it and everything.
okay. Um, and then I assume, like for the different programs, I remember seeing the website, so the prices are all current on there?
Yes,
Or did they get into the level of detail with pricing for the various programs
yeah, so
on the website?
yeah, they get into detail.
Okay.
I'll also send a follow-up email with a few prices.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so after this consultation, I sent a follow-up with programs, prices, the e-collar I recommend for Apollo, and a um, form that needs to be signed. The form needs to be signed, and then after the form is signed, we can begin invoicing, so the billing process. And then once the billing process has been either started, if you're going to do the payment plan, or finished if you pay in full, then we can begin booking.
Okay.
Um, what else? So are you guys leaning more towards the daycare and train, or the board?
We're not,
We're not even
yeah, we need
sure.
to talk about it first.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then with the in-person training, let's say you chose a 12-week program, you get, just a heads up, you get 12 slots. So like Monday at 1, you get, the 12 slots, those are yours, plus 1. In case you need to cancel or anything like that, you still and that 13th Monday, you had that slot reserved in case something happens. But then once you use that slot, then you need, and let's say you cancel 2 times, you would have to wait until I'm available to kind of set up another session with you guys. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And then just one other question, just in terms of, like once we've done the training with Apollo, if I guess for follow-up, or if there's issues or that haven't been corrected, is that something we just can come back for additional things, or are there follow-up programs or lessons?
Yeah, so the follow-up, like I think like you get like I think you get like 3 hours or 4 hours of follow-up time. It's a lot of follow-up time. The first follow-up, we usually like make it like a 2-hour session, just so we transfer all the commands to you and make sure that you're not
Okay.
missing anything. And then you get, like that other 2 hours can be like in home, or like, we're still having issues with, him counter surfing. And then we can do like an in-home session and address that as well. So, so there's a lot of what's it called? Options and time to transfer everything to you guys and help you after the program, because that's another issue with other training programs is, like I said, like, dogs good with them, and like, hey, your dog knows all these commands, here's your stuff, and then good luck. And like that's happened before. We've had clients tell us that my dog knows like 50 something commands and I don't know how to do them. And it's like, oh, okay. But it'll happen. So it's unfortunate, but that's why our follow-ups are very important to us and important for you guys, just so you're
Okay.
getting everything that you need out of the training, or the board and train, or the daycare and train.
Oh, great. And just one last question with the prong collar. So would you recommend Apollo just do the e-collar or a combination? Or do people just do one or the other? I know you had mentioned the prong collar earlier.
Yeah, so prong collar and e-collar is obviously the ultimate like setup. Do you need it? It depends. Like if you're in this, so how it works is if you're in the city, um, and like you turn the corner and there's like a dog there, and you're like, whoa, and you have the flat buckle, it's gonna be a lot harder to kind of restrict him. But if you have the prong collar, you have more control with
Okay.
that leash, in case you can't result and be fast enough with the e-collar to address that situation. So that's why that's where we recommend prong collar. It's just like in that emergency, you have the prong control handling
So
wise.
it's that they do both, they can wear both at the same time.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And then real quick, some common questions about the e-collar clients usually ask is, when does it come off? So the e-collar is on when you need it. So if you're going to go for a walk with Apollo, it'd probably be on, since we can't account for life. So let's say a firework goes off and Apollo has never experienced July 4th or a firework before. He hears that, he's like, whoa, and he goes to flight mode. He tries to run away. He breaks out the slip collar, and with that e-collar, you're able to make him come back, and you're able to override the flight mode and to do a recall. If you don't have the e-collar on, there's no way to connect to him or to like settle him. Because when they're in flight mode, they're like, freaking out. It's similar to like, like a kid having a party, and like they hear the phone call like, oh, it's like their mom, like, we're coming home tonight. And then they're in the middle of a party and like, oh God, and they're freaking out. They're panicking. Like that one friend's like, hey, and like they slap, like they clap, like it's okay. We'll clear it. We'll clean everything up and everything. It's like, that's what e-collar is in like a flight mode for dogs. It's just like a little, like, like a snap, like, calm down, come back to me, and we'll get away from the noise, So it's on when you need it. So for walks, it would be on. In the home, let's say after training, he doesn't do what he's doing right now. And you find that you don't really need it in the home, then you don't need it. If a guest is coming over, Apollo's going to be really jumpy. You'd correct whatever he does in the beginning with the e-collar. And then let's say the rest of the night he was good. Well, now we know, okay, he just needs a few, taps here and there from the e-collar in the beginning. But after that, the night, he's a good boy. So then you don't need it throughout the night. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay. Okay.
Another common question real quick is, when they take the e-collar off, why is Apollo pulling me again? It's called opportunistic behavior. It's just a nature thing. So for example, Jesse uses this example with his clients on the consultations is, do you drive on the highway? And everyone, usually drives on the highway, but does everyone go the speed limit? Answer is no. No one goes to speed limit on the highway until they see a squad car. If there's no squad car, no one goes speed limit. It's called opportunistic behavior. It's a nature thing. If we know we can get away with something, we're going to get away with it. So it has nothing to do with the training. It has nothing to do with us as trainers. It has nothing to do with you guys practicing at home. It's just a nature thing.
So when they revert back, then you put the collar on to.
Yeah, we give you guys like tips and everything to help avoid that as well. But sometimes dogs just know, sometimes they don't know. Sometimes they're just always obedient because they're very cautious. Sometimes they know when, as soon as you take it off, they try something and they're like, oh, nothing happened when I tried this. What if I do this, this, this? Oh, it's just when the collar's on. Okay, I see now,
Do people ever just leave it on for months at a time, or?
Yeah, some clients do it. There's nothing wrong with it. We also give you tools and videos how to not be so reliant on the e-collar as well. So you're not always having to use it in the home.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, I think that covers everything.
I don't think so.
So you'll send a follow-up email, Enrique?
Yes, it should be sent out like tomorrow, I believe.
Okay.
Oh, that'd be great. Oh,
Yeah.
Wonderful. No, I don't think we have any other questions. Thank you, though, for the detailed rundown on your program. And
yeah, thanks for all the time. That was very helpful.
It was really, really helpful.
Yeah, and if any questions pop up, feel free to email me and I'll answer.
Oh, okay.
Answer them.
Oh, great.
So follow-up will contain prices, programs of daycare, train, board and train, and in-person. E-collar I recommend for Apollo. And I'll also send you an example of how a payment plan would work And then just keep an eye out for that follow-up. Check the spam sometimes. One time I went to spam, I'm not sure why, but just in case, check spam.
Okay. If we don't hear from you, okay.
Yeah.
I will look there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks, Enrique.
Thank you so much. We will be in touch.
Of course. All right. Nice meeting you guys.
Nice
Likewise.
to meet you. Thanks so much.
Of course. Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.